Hello everyone, my name is Haigia Limod and I am your first reporter for today's discussion. Our topic for today is all about theories of urban and rural sociology classical, urban sociology theories. Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels macro-sociological. People in pre-industrial tradition societies were generic and tribal beings, meaning during pre-industrial, people are still not yet informed about new ways of socialization. Rise of city was transition from barbarism to civilization. With the existence of macro-sociology, it changes the lifestyle of every people, like one as very traditional to open culture society. People realize political and economic freedom, productive specialization. The involvement of industrialization to the society had enlightened people of new ideas to improve economy and production. And social evolution of humans not complete until capitalism was transformed into socialism. Karl Marx believes that capitalism is exploitative, that can lead to workers' revolution. That is why socialism is needed to meet the satisfaction of workers and employers. And the last one is emphasis of economics and problems of inequality and conflict. The theory focuses on what inequality can cause. Next is Ferdinand Tönnies. Tönnies is pessimistic about futurity of urban growth and city life. He considered social structure of city. He also defines and describes two basic organizing principles of human association or two contrasting types of social life. A typology with a continuum or pure types of settlement. So these are the two contrasting types of social life. First is Gemeinschaft, which means characterized country village. People in rural village have an essential unity of purpose, work together for the common good, united by ties of family or kinship and neighborhood. Land worked communally by inhabitants, social life characterized by intimate, private and exclusive living together, member bound by common goods and evils, common friends and enemies, sense of we-ness and ourness human. In other words, Gemeinschaft social relation between individuals based on close personal and family ties. And the second one is Gesellschaft, which means characterized large city. City life is a mechanical aggregate characterized by disunity, rampant individualism, and selfishness. Meaning of existence shifts from group to individual, rational, calculating, and each person understood in terms of particular role, service provided. Deals with the artificial construction of an aggregate of human beings which superficially resembles the Gemeinschafts in far as the individual peacefully live together. Yet whereas in Gemeinschaft people are united in spite of all separating factors. In Gesellschaft, people are separated in spite of all uniting factors. So, in other words, Gesellschaft, social relation based on impersonal ties as duty to a society or organization. So, these are the three types of Gemeinschaft relationship. First is kinship, friendship, and neighborhood or locality. Kinship Gemeinschaft is based on family, the strongest relationship being between mother and child, then husband and wife, and then siblings. Gemeinschaft also exists between father and child. Kinship develops and differentiates into the Gemeinschaft or locality which is based on common habitat. And friendship or Gemeinschaft or mind which requires a common mental community. So first, the mother-child relationship is the most important because it is very deep one. Nature gives the mother a helpless baby who depends on her food, clothing, and general care. Consequently, the mother loves the child very much and this is an instinctive feeling. The child, on the other hand, returns the mother affection and is also grateful to her for all that she gave him. Both mother and child are bound together with memories of their common past. The father-child relationship resembles the relationship between brothers and sisters, only it is less intense. The father assumes authority over his children and delegates his powers to his first son. In the case of primogeniture, This means that the first son inherits his father's possession and his title. In cases where all children inherit equally, they receive their rights directly through the father and through the elder brother. The brother-sister relationship is not based on instinct. In the old times, marriage between brothers and sisters were allowed, but it is not prohibited. The children of the same mother have memories of experiences which they had shared in the past while they were growing up together. They also are more alike. Since they are of common biological heritage, consequently, we can say that the brother-sister relationship is the most human of man's characteristics. The kinship group live in the same house in close proximity to each other. They eat together, they have common enemies, they must protect the family honor, and they share common ancestors. This type of life fosters affection and love among members and results in very closely knit group. The neighborhood consists of several dwellings in close proximity to one another, and the inhabitants share belief in the common deities of the village. They also share common rituals, beliefs, and customs. Therefore, there is a give and take in the neighborhood. Friendship is a mutual feeling of affection between two individuals. It is created by choice. Therefore, no instinct is involved. Usually, the parties in a friendship situation have common likes and dislikes, and often they have similar occupations. So, Gemeinschaft, traditional small community. People cooperate with each other very closely. This behavior being determined by kinship ties. This behavior reinforced by the social controls of their neighbors and of the church. A good example of Gemeinschaft would be a church or other religious institution. In this case, those that attend the church on a regular basis have formed relationships with other attendees and have bond around their shared beliefs, values, and tradition. Moreover, there tends to be a sense of support and collectivity in these types of environments that foster a feeling of togetherness and belongings. An important element of Gemeinschaft is that the relationship and bonds formed in these cases are based on direct personal interaction. If you consider the example of a church, you can imagine that the people in the group and probably engage in more than casual interaction. And next is Gesellschaft. A modern urban society, individuals act for their own self-interest or cooperating only as much as required by laws, contracts, public opinion that constrains their action in the society of this time. He perceived the small, close, traditional family-oriented communities were being gradually superseded by the large and impersonal cities. Say, for example, that you live in New York City and you're surrounded by stores, restaurants, and bars. You probably interact with these people in a pleasant way and engage in certain transactions with many of them. More often than not, you don't know these people's names, nor do you socialize with them in any meaningful way. They're just the people that live and work around you. Having said that, you are still connected to them in that you all share special space and you all as residents of the United States have now informally agreed to the laws, traditions, and expectations agreed to by all citizens. In both the Gemeinschaft and Gesellschaft, the individual members plays a critical role. In the former, the person has space to fulfill personal needs and goals, like attaining a sense of belonging to a community and contribute to the overall functioning of the larger society, participating in the economy and general stability of the society.
Hi everyone, it's Denise Jade. So, social solidarity is the bond between all individuals within a society. It is how society holds together and what ties the individual to the society. So, according to Durkheim, there are two types of social solidarity. One is mechanical solidarity and organic solidarity. So let's talk about these two types. So first, we have organic solidarity. It is a social cohesion based upon the dependence individuals have in each other in more advanced societies. It comes from independence that arises from a specialization of work and complementaries between people. So according to Durkheim, in organic solidarity, It is like an organism in which it cannot function without the help of one another. So for examples that I want to build a restaurant, but in order for me to have it, I need to help of other people like an architect, construction firm, and all that. After building a restaurant, I need to hire also chef, waitress, cashier, guard, and all that stuff so that my restaurant will function. So organic solidarity refers to societies that held together by the division of labor which causes people to be dependent with each other. Again, social solidarity, high division of labor, or high specialization. Individuals are connected to one another because they need each other. They need each other to help each other because each has specialized role. So society held together or their solidarity is based on interdependence of its part. Last, we have mechanical solidarity, refers to social bonds constructed on likeness and largely dependent upon common belief, custom, rituals, routines, and symbols. In mechanical, it is the sameness, homogeneity, low division of labor, or low specialization. People feel connected to one another because they see themselves as the same. Example is that in a rural farming community where every farmer like might attend the same church, eats the same, works the same, also have the same family structure. So when a farmer A share his words to farmer B, dili siya maka-feel nga ay kini si farmer B, dili siya kaget sa akong kaagi, sa akong experience, sa akong worries. But it's the opposite because farmer A and farmer B share the same worries. Like matud pa sa giingon diri nga people feel connected to one another because they see themselves as the same. So si Farmer A feels confident nga, feels okay nga kini siya nga akong kaistorya. Si Farmer B makagets gini siya kay parihamig kaagi, parihamig work, parihami sa among almost daily routines. And again, in mechanical solidarity, people here see themselves as the same. That's what makes them solid. So first, we have organic solidarity. It is a social cohesion based upon the dependence individuals have in each other in more advanced societies. It comes from independence that arises from specialization of work and complementaries between people. So according to Durkheim, in organic solidarity, it is like an organism in which it cannot function without the help of one another. So for examples that I want to build a restaurant, but in order for me to have it, I need to help of other people like an architect, construction firm, and all that. After building a restaurant, I need to hire also chef, waitress, cashier, guard, and all that stuff so that my restaurant will function. So organic solidarity refers to societies that held together by the division of labor which causes people to be dependent with each other. Again, social solidarity, high division of labor, or high specialization. Individuals are connected to one another because they need each other. They need each other to help each other because each has specialized role. So society held together or their solidarity is based on interdependence of its part.
Hello everyone, this is Princess Anne Binimenyo. Simil contributed greatly to sociology and European intellectual life in the early part of this century. He considered the importance of urbanism or the urban experience and life within the city. One of his most famous writings is The Metropolis and Mental Life in 1903. In this essay, he focuses on views in life in the city, particularly on social psychology. And his best known book is The Philosophy of Money on 1907. Simil's ideas and writings on the city and money were very influential, and until now, the contemporary sociologists are using it. It is stated in his work on the metropolis and mental life that the deepest problems of modern life derive from the claim of the individual to preserve the autonomy and individuality of his existence in the face of overwhelming social forces of historical heritage, of external culture, and of the technique of life. So here, he says that man is actually trying to be independent and have an individuality of his own. He also talked about the detached and capricious urban cosmopolitan, in which the urban modernist is now embedded in the iron cage of a world of work and bureaucracy, as well as the consumer's dilemma of a search for identity in a soulless mass society. Due to the intensification of external and internal sensual stimuli in the city, as compared to a rural setting, the metropolis fosters a situation where one must buffer or harm him or herself from a constantly changing environment. In other words, life becomes matter of fact, with little consideration to emotional concerns. This intellectualism defines life in the city and sharply contrasts with the emphasis on personal relationships characteristic of smaller settings or in rural setting, where in the city everyone is on the go. With the fast pace and high population, here comes the blaze attitude. Blaze attitude is the social reserve, detachment, and to respond with head rather than heart, or the don't care and don't get involved concept. Example of this scenario is that there is a homeless man singing in the train. While singing, he is looking around to catch the attention of the people. But unfortunately, no one is turning around to show interest in him. And also, they do not give him money or just an offering. Okay, another example is that there is a lady stuck in the door, but people are so concerned with getting to their destination in time. So, they just walk right by the lady stuck in the door without even asking to see if she is okay or she is alright. So, in this way of manner, Metropolitan are having a blaze attitude of being emotional indifference and calculating personality. Instead of reacting emotionally, the metropolitan type reacts primarily in a rational manner. Moving forward to the philosophy of money, where the metropolis has always been the locus of the money economy. The importance of money as a means of exchange and also as a form of social interaction. When monetary transactions replaced earlier forms of barter, significant changes occurred in the form of interaction between social factors. The money economy and the domination of the intellect are deeply connected. Both share matter of factness in their treatment of people and goods. Money replaces personal ties by impersonal relations that limited to a specific purpose, where it invades areas of social life. Example of this is the kinship relations or appreciation. Above economic functions, it symbolizes and embodies modern spirit of rationalism, calculability, and impersonality. Simil indicated that monetary interaction has negative impact on social relationship that manifested in prostitution or the sex for money, for it leads to a degradation of the personal value of both participants with lack of attachments. Money is only concerned with what individualities share in common, namely exchange value, which reduces all qualities and particularities to mere quantity. Generally, George Simmel differentiated the way of life of metropolis or urban from rural setting, in which, instead of reacting emotionally, the metropolitan type reacts primarily in a rational manner. This is in contrast to the familiarity and vibrancy that people from small towns or rural area often greet one another. Thank you for listening.
Hello everyone, I'm Josephine Rosagan. I'm the fourth reporter for this topic. Max Weber saw many similarities between European and South Asian cities in the pre-modern times. Considered social structure of city, meaning society is believed to be grouped into structurally related groups or sets of roles with different functions, meanings, or purposes. Examples of social structure include family, religion, law, economy, and class. It has ecological demographic characteristics, which means the city was a relatively close and dense settlement. Dense settlements means thickly crowded and it has buildings. Max Weber defined urban community as an ideal type. It required number 1, trade or commercial relations, for example, market. In rural areas, people are more or less self-sufficient, growing their own food, providing their own clothing, and so on. Trade and commerce are of limited importance there. Economic self-sufficiency is nearly impossible. People are economically interdependent. Number 2. It must have court and law of its own, a legal court of its own that had the authority to settle local disputes. Number 3. Partial political autonomy. Weber considered this autonomy to be necessary for the establishment of an urban community. For Weber, the key to city life was the creation of an independent urban government that was elected by the citizens of the city itself. Number 4. Military self-sufficient for self-defense. Number 5. Forms of association or self-participation whereby individuals engage in social relationships and organizations. Weber suggested that cities are linked to larger processes, for example, economic or political orientations. Instead of city itself being cause of distinguishing qualities of urban life, that is, different cultural and historical conditions will result in different types of cities. Same as with Marx and Engels, who argued that human conditions of cities was the result of economical structure.
Hello, I'm Charlene Doan M. Husol. August Comte 1798 to 1857. Comte considers sociology into two theoretical aspects, social statics and social dynamics. In view of that, I associate Comte's work with urbanization as a social change. Undoubtedly, synchronizes with dynamics aspects of society. In other thoughts, it's a social dynamics of science, which tries to discover the laws and principles underlying social change and progress. Social statics focuses on how order is maintained in the society, whereas social dynamics focuses on how society changes over time. It also tries to find out the conditions necessary to maintain the continuity of social progress. Society is always changing. It is the goal of social progress of change is the attainment of scientific and positive stage of human thinking. Social dynamics is a mathematically inspired approach to analysis societies, building upon systems theory and sociology. That it is a branch of social physics that deals with the laws, forces, and phenomena of change in society. It is the study of the ability of a society to react to inner and outer changes and deal with its regulation mechanisms. Social dynamics refers to the pattern of the revolutionary progress in which the sequence of the development is necessary and inevitable, but progress, not regress. For example, an increase in educational level is followed by an increase in prestige and then an increase in income. Change resulting from interdependent forces and feedback effects within the system are called endogenous changes. The term progress refers to the orderly development of the society, which is according to the natural law. Hence, the order and progress, or statics and dynamics, are correlated to each other. yet not supported by empirical data. Here's our references. Thank you for listening.